Good morning. It's Thursday, April the 24th, and this is The Drill. Thank you very much. I'm Ron, your host, and the only true conservative in the United States today, because I don't take my cues from the left. I will not pretend to be neutral, and I will not simply give you the facts and let you decide. I'm partisan, and I'm here to convince and persuade. I created this podcast to answer the question most asked by conservatives, namely, what can I do? My podcast is short, approximately 5 to 10 minutes long, because shorter podcasts are easier to download and listen to, and shorter podcasts force me to get to the point. I've been listening to conservative talk radio since 1989. I've grown up in a socialist household, and I've seen the destructive effects of socialism up close and personal. My podcast is made possible by iTunes, Spotify. It's actually made possible by Spreaker and can be heard on iTunes, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. Today, what can I do? Quote of the day, martial law, and Archie Bunker. All that when I come back. Thank you very much. What can I do? Figure out what you've been doing, analyze it, and do away with that which is ineffective. You always start, any discussion start by making the presumption for the status quo. So when somebody says, what do we do about the homeless? The first thing you need to do is ask the question, what have we been doing? And then you follow it up with another question, what's wrong with that? And don't spread the disease. Don't act like a lefty. There's a lot of things that the lefties do and say that seem hip and fun and whatnot, and they're meant to be seductive. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Don't give in to the pressure to prove a negative. It's one of their favorite tactics, is to get you to try to prove that you're not a racist, that you're not a homophobe, that you're not a misogynist. It's not our job. Their job is to prove it. Supply any type of documentary evidence or witnesses or whatever and prove that I'm a racist, etc. Mind your own business. Listen and read carefully. Criticize. Trust yourself. Be realistic. Learn to love the concept and abstraction, and don't be reactionary. Next up, the quote of the day. Thank you. The quote of the day comes from the book Defending Boyhood by Anthony Esolen. It's from the introduction. Yes, quote, yes, a book defending boyhood is direly needed. And Tony Esolen is just the guy to do it. In a Western world increasingly lacking men with chests, Esolen is a man with courage, unafraid to stand athwart the modernists yelling halt. Esolen himself has been hounded by the wolves of political correctness who have pursued him hungrily. He doesn't care. He's nothing if not fearless, unquote. Next up, martial law. Thank you. In my last episode, I called for a declaration of martial law by the governor of my state and the governors of all the states. I called for this drastic action because our politicians have said that the situation with COVID-19 was so serious that everyone needs to voluntarily sacrifice their God-given rights to help set things straight. They further conned the president into declaring a mock war in order to use faux power to keep us in our homes and out of our minds. First, it is not for the government to ask us to make such a sacrifice. Second, I have doubts about the sincerity of our so-called leaders. I think that they have good reasons to solicit our cooperation that have nothing to do with keeping us safe, such as obedience training. The only act of good faith that our representatives and executives should show, or could show, that would convince us that they are sincere about the severe danger from the virus would be to declare martial law and mobilize the National Guard. Coming up, Archie Bunker. Thank you very much. In my last episode, I advised conservatives to watch All in the Family to see how Archie Bunker wins all the arguments despite being outnumbered. In essence, I'm asking true conservatives to use Archie Bunker as a role model. Although I didn't know it at the time, Archie Bunker is the man I was thinking about when I wrote the conclusion to my podcasts. Archie Bunker is a true conservative. He's the person that has the courage of his convictions and is confident in what he knows. He's the person that understands that cultural conservatism is more important than political conservatism. He is not selfish, but minds his own business. He acts like an adult. He is patriotic, and he uses common sense. He expresses what he knows and does so with certainty. He makes judgments, refuses to speculate, speaks clearly and definitively, and is not afraid to say no. He's open-minded, asking why rather than why not. He is consistent, credible, and influential, not ashamed of his existence, unafraid to learn or correct his mistakes. He is a normal American, and he is better than the socialist. Back in a minute. Thank you. That brings me to the end of another episode of The Drill. Remember that the left has no authority, no power, and they can't win. Think about it.